Welcome back to Edge Work, presented by FanDuel as part of the Hammer Betting Network. I'm Alex Moretto here today for another solo show. The last solo show potentially of the season. No promises, but I think that is trending to be the case with Rob and So Money on hand the rest of the way. I do not believe I will have to venture into uncharted waters by myself anymore. So this should be the last one. I guess technically wasn't fully solo show yesterday. I did let producer Jason hop on stream at one point for a quick moment yesterday. We definitely want to limit that going forward, though. We can't have that hairdo on screen too often anymore. That was I apologize for that. But last night on the ice, best bets were 2, 3, and 1. I was very, very frustrated with the results last night. It's going to happen. Like, it is what it is. Just like one of the better cards we have maybe put together all season too, in terms of market agreement, all that sort of stuff. Like, we got over 4% CLV on the Oilers total, on the Flames total, and on the Preds total. We got 5.7% CLV on that Preds Stars, over 6. We end up having to settle for a push. Unbelievable goaltending again from the Stars. Like that, we talked about that yesterday. That was my one concern. As long as they didn't get lights out goaltending, we thought they should get theirs and we'd get the total. But yeah, Ottinger was fantastic again. He stood on his head in that first period and throughout most of the game to help the Stars to a comfortable 5-1 win. We have to settle for a push there. We bet the over 6 minus 101 in that Ducks Flames game. 4.1% CLV there as it closes a heavily juiced over 6 at the Sharp Sportsbooks. Unfortunately, come just short of cashing that one. I'm just going to pull up the box score here as well that I had down. Not to make excuses, but yeah, extremely high event game, a very, very, very high event game, and it is what it is. That's just what happens sometimes. And then the over in Edmonton and San Jose gets absolutely blasted. We bet over 6.5 minus 106. It closes minus 128, and we get 3-2 going into the third period. We could not get anything else from that point forward. So it is what it is. Oddly enough, I did talk about the Comrie game and having potentially a bad number there, but being comfortable just eating it if it was a bad number and locking it in when we did. We did get a bad number on that under 5.5. Winnipeg, Vegas, and Comrie gets the shutout. It was funny. Ken Weave, who covers the Jets, Weave's World, you see his tweet last night about Comrie is going to be the starter and Comrie leads the team out into the ice or whatever. The responses to that tweet were like, basically a bunch of Jets fans say they don't want to watch the game. What's the point? Congrats to Dallas on winning the division, yada, yada, yada. And Comrie gets the shutout and they comfortably cash that under. So anyways, it is what it is. Very happy with the card. If we keep, locking in prices and numbers like that, we will do very well long term. Didn't work out exactly last night, but it's not going to happen. Yeah, Connor, oh my God, I see Connor in the chat there. Imagine betting Vegas minus 118. That's a tough one. They closed like minus 160 almost. Terrible. And yeah, the Utah under, I don't know how that didn't get tracked. Producer did not track that one yesterday, which I talked about how I liked it. I think maybe because it wasn't widely available at the number I liked it at. I don't remember if that was the case or if it just was like missed, but probably a good thing it didn't get tracked in the end. I did bet it. That was disgusting to lose that one. I just didn't recap it because we didn't have it in our best bets from yesterday. But nonetheless, hopefully we can have a better day today, although I don't really love the card, so I'm not sure we're going to have all that much here. We will get started in a second. I do want to also talk not just about the games today, but there's a lot of really cool markets up on FanDuel for the Great Chase. And obviously I see the comments already starting in the chat about Ovechkin tonight. This could be point night. This could be goal night against the Hawks. We're definitely going to dive deep into this Ovechkin stuff. I also have a few Conn Smythe award guys that sort of stood out to me a little bit in that Conn Smythe market that I wanted to touch on, maybe as some longer prices getting on them. a little bit earlier here. So we will do that in a second. We'll get into all that sort of stuff. Before we do, Puckheads, the NHL playoffs are right around the corner, and FanDuel is bringing you the best bets on the ice. Get in the lab when you make your same game parlay by checking out FanDuel's player performance pages that track stats and averages all your favorite players. Once you know who's cooking, add shots on goal, points, assists, or even goalie saves to your SGP. Miss puck drop, you can still tap in with live same-game parlay and period-specific player props. Right now, new customers can kick off the season with $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just place any $5 bet and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download FanDuel Sportsbook and make every moment more. Please play responsibly. Must be 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in DC, or 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-866-531-2600. Visit connexontario.ca. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right, the games tonight. We will start with this Caps game. Caps Hawks in Washington, in the nation's capital, the U.S. version. Washington minus 400, Hawks plus 310, total of 6.5, minus 115 to the over, minus 105 to the under. There are some slightly better prices on the under available right now, as the over has been blasted this morning. Took a ton of money. I mean, I can conceptually kind of understand why, just based on the fact that like the Blackhawks are bleeding goals and Washington can score with anyone. Obviously, there's that added incentive of trying to get Ovechkin the record. I do think this has run too far. I haven't come back on it yet. It's more just a lean, but there are a couple spots where plus money is available on the under 6, and I do kind of like that. It's more of a strong lean than something I'm kind of rushing to bet here. The Blackhawks just can't score goals away from home. They can't really generate offense either. Caps defensive numbers have been better. Just hasn't really looked that way because the goaltending's been bad. That's why they've been giving up goals. They've definitely had some struggles in that regard, especially with Logan Thompson, who's looked really bad in his last couple starts. I would assume we'll get Lindgren here. They have been alternating back and forth. I don't think he'll be particularly busy. He also seems to have the higher floor between the two right now. He's not prone to those sort of blow-up games like we saw from Thompson against the Sabres. I don't know what Thompson's playing through right now, but like, you cannot feel great about going into the playoffs with him as your game one starter. You just cannot. It's a small sample, so I'm sure he'll be fine, whatever. But yeah, as Jordan says in the chat, Thompson got hurt last game too. So definitely would expect Lindgren here, which makes me, in a weird way, just right now, like numbers-wise, not the case, but just like conceptually makes me feel a little bit better about this under, just based on the fact that I do think Thompson is struggling right now. I think Rob talked about that the other day too, how the model hasn't quite caught up to his recent struggles. You're still using season-long numbers. He hasn't been great for a while, at least hasn't been as good as his standards are. Yeah, I don't think we'll get much offense from the Hawks. It is definitely a concern that Washington just comes out and scores 7 or like wins 6-1, 6-2. I mean, I don't think they need to, turn this into a track meet. I don't think they'll want to turn this into a track meet, but like with Ovi chasing the record, it does kind of give me pause. At this point in the season, I'm not trying to like rush into stuff or force plays on maybe small edges. So on under 6.5 plus money, I will just leave it as a lean. It will not be a bet for myself tonight, unless this runs even further and we start getting like, plus 105 or upwards of that. Then maybe I will jump in. Okay, let's talk Ovechkin. I see it in the chat. Insight, Ovi Hattie. I saw a couple of comments earlier. Brian, Ovi 2+. Jordan said something, sprinkling Ovi hat trick. He did it to us before. So let's just jump right into this stuff here, because FanDuel has some crazy markets up, and I think there's some value in these. I did a bit of a deep dive into them. Some of the numbers have since moved, but there's also some numbers that are out there that I think are pretty good. First, we'll talk about the game tonight, because he is I think plus 2,000. I know, so you can look for, if you go in the market under Hawks Caps and you go to 3+ goals, it's plus 1,900 on OV to score a hat trick. But if you scroll down one tab, it goes the grade 8 chase complete. Ovechkin to score 3+ goals versus Chicago, plus 2,000. So that's in the game tab. You can get him tonight to score a hat trick at plus 2,000 at FanDuel. That is by far the best price in market. If you go under the goals tab, yeah, there we go. And then under 3+, there's the grade 8 chase complete. We have Ovechkin, so plus 1,900 there, and then it is 20-1 just under. So obviously, if you're going to be betting that, bet the plus 2,000. And also, I will say, if you're betting it, and if you're limited, that's kind of a good way to get around it a little bit, where you can bet it twice, because there are two different markets that are offering it. You're not going to be limited. You're going to be, I mean, you'll be limited in both, but like if you bet one, it's not going to change your limits for the other. So at least you can get a little bit more down on it as well. Good little workaround there. I think that is best price in market. I'm just trying to pull that up right here. We have, yeah, that is by far best price in market. I'm seeing like 11-1 elsewhere. So if you're looking to bet Ovi hat trick tonight, you're doing it at FanDuel, because you're not going to get any better than that. I don't hate it. I'll probably sprinkle on it myself, especially because we've talked about it. But like, I mean, he's not scoring a hat trick. You know, that's the implied odds of that are not. I know there's the added there's not, it's matchup based too, where like this is a bad team, and there's the added incentive of him chasing it. Maybe you wanted to get it on home ice. Maybe they're going to push a little harder. I don't know that we're necessarily going to have an empty net situation, especially if they're up like 4-0. So obviously, if you're betting it, it's going to be a bad number. If you want to just do it for the sake of, you know, the narrative, whatever, I understand. But yeah, it's heavily baked in that he's chasing this record. Let's put it that way. It is heavily baked in, and you're not getting significant value for that. There is some value in this great chase market, though. There are some markets here on FanDuel. So if we go to the great chase, I think it might only be in Ontario, to be fair. But nonetheless, I want to go through some of these. It might not just be in Ontario. I don't actually know for sure, but I think there's some really good, markets here that we can take a look at. So I did a bit of a deep dive, and the numbers are a little bit skewed here because of the fact that Ovechkin has been playing with Strome and Protas all season. Strome has assisted on 19 of Ovechkin's goals this season. That is 48.7% of his actual goals he has assisted on. Odds of Strome assisting on Ovechkin's goal, record-breaking goal, is plus 118. That is a just under 46% implied percentage. And I think that that's still not a good bet. It's technically considered a small edge, but that's because Ovechkin has been playing with Strome all season. If you look at his recent goals, he has not assisted on as many of his recent goals, because obviously he is playing on a different line right now. There was value at one point, I thought, on Pierre-Luc Dubois. That has since been now bet into place. Dubois has only assisted on 3 of Ovechkin's goals this year, but Ovechkin is now playing with Dubois and Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson also bet down as well. So the market has quickly reacted to the fact that Ovechkin is playing on a new line. If we look at, so I see the producer here has exact combo. I don't like any of these currently. There's not a ton of value in some of those. If you look at his goals this season, the most popular assist combo on his 39 goals is Strome Karlsson. That's happened 6 times, and Strome and Protas, that's happened 6 times as well. So both of those on 15% of Ovechkin's goals this year. Strome and Protas is plus 1,000. So that is a 9% implied probability. So technically, if you're just using season-long numbers, whatever, that would be a bit of an edge. But it's also not, because he's not playing with Protas and Strome anymore on a line. In fact, he's barely seeing the ice with Protas anymore, because he's not on Protas's line of 5-on-5, and Protas does not get power play time whatsoever. So it's kind of hard to see. If there was a no market on player to record an assist on Alex Ovechkin's 895th career regular season goal, Protas is plus 400. I would take a no at minus 650 or whatever, because I think that is pretty unlikely, just given how little they see the ice together at this point. Okay, but we don't want to talk about bets that we don't want to make, obviously. We want to talk a bit more about bets we do want to make. Strome Karlsson has obviously been a popular combo for Ovechkin's goals this year. Again, he's not playing on a line with Strome. That's still very possible on a power play. I think that could be a likely power play one. What I want to look at here, though, is player to record an assist on Alex Ovechkin's 895th goal. I like a little bit of a flyer on Van Riemsdyk. Van Riemsdyk at 1,700, 17 to 1. Van Riemsdyk has assisted on 4 of his goals. A lot more of those have come recently. If you look at his recent 5-on-5 time, Ovechkin has seen the ice a good amount with Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Now, obviously, Van Riemsdyk does not get power play time, which mitigates the potential, but 17 to 1 is a pretty big number considering the amount they do play together at 5-on-5 and the fact that, there we go. We see, sorry, I don't have the StreamYard up. I just pulled it up now. So, yeah, Sam says Van Riemsdyk plus 1,700 as well. Yeah, that I very much agree with that. I like that quite a bit. And then I also kind of didn't mind. Let me just pull up the market again here. I lost my place. Nick Dowd plus 3,500. It's not like, Dowd's only assisted 2 of his goals this year, but like Dowd is a guy who's out there a decent amount late in games. If it does happen to be an empty netter, there's a solid chance maybe Dowd is on the ice with him, and Dowd is a guy who could potentially factor in there. He's assisted only 2 of his goals this year. That is still 5% though. Obviously 3,500 is far less implied. That's maybe half of that. So I think maybe a little bit of value on Dowd. But yeah, Trevor Van Riemsdyk, definitely my favorite of these from this market. Exact assist combo, based on what's offered right now, I don't really like any of them. I did send a message to the FanDuel team about getting a couple added. If they could add Dubois Wilson and Dubois Carlson, which I think, and they have been added. They've been added though at pretty decent numbers. Yeah, fair enough. Those were not up there before the show, but now we're seeing plus 280, plus 350. Those, I feel like those are probably the 2 likeliest. So it's fair that they're being priced as the 2 likeliest because that's the line he's playing on right now. Yeah, and obviously Dubois and Carlson, he sees them on the first line and first power play, so he's on there quite often with them. And Dubois and Wilson are his line mates right now at 5-on-5, and also both out there with him on the power play. So I did like those. Was hoping for slightly better numbers though, but I feel like those are just, probabilistically speaking, those are the 2 likeliest combinations to assist on the record-breaking goal. And then the other one I liked was the team market, for him to score his record-breaking goal against. Jackets are plus 175. I get why they're favored in this market because of the fact that he does play them twice coming up. They have 3 more games. They go tonight against Chicago, then they go the Isles on Sunday, and then the Canes next. And then after those 3 games, they go back-to-back against Columbus. I'm not honestly, like, there's a solid chance he beats it before then, given the matchups that they have against the Islanders and against the Hawks. I feel like it is very likely he gets at least 2 goals in these next 2 games, whether it's 2 tonight or 1 in each of them. And that puts him in a really good position to break the record at home against Carolina in that game. Carolina plus 550. You're basically betting on Ovechkin to score 1 goal per game in his next 2 and not breaking it before then. Even if he only scores 1, you still have the chance of him potentially scoring 2 against Carolina. Either way, I think that number is off. I think that's a good price to bet Ovechkin to score his record-breaking goal against the Hurricanes plus 550. I really do like that number quite a bit. I think that is far too high. I think that should be closer to the, high 200s range. So those are my favorite bets from these markets. Trevor Van Riemsdyk to assist on his record-breaking goal at 1,700. Nick Dowd at 3,500, which is now down to 2,500 as we talk about this live on air. And then to break it against the Hurricanes plus 550, which you might want to go bet that now because there's a solid chance that probably moves soon as well. But those are 3 really strong, solid bets in my opinion. All right. that's it for the Obi stuff. Would be cool to see him beat it tonight, though. But yeah, I mean, you're betting plus 2,000 for him to do it. You're definitely paying a premium, but I wouldn't put it past them. And I do think they're going to try and give him every opportunity to do it here. And the Hawks aren't exactly a team that's going to provide a ton of resistance if they do want to get it for him. So that's the grade 8 stuff. We will move on back to the games for tonight. Next game of the night, we have the Hurricanes and the Wings. Canes minus 194, Wings plus 160, total of 5.5, minus 134 to the over, plus 110 to the under. I like the under in this game. Probably going to be my only bet for the day. There's some 6 minus 120 available. 6, even though slightly better than that, and there's plus money 5.5 widely available as well, which is what I would like. That 5.5 plus 110 at FanDuel is pretty much the best price in market. So we can go ahead and lock that in at under 5.5 plus 110 at FanDuel. Canes are just on another level right now in terms of what they're giving up, which is next to nothing. I know their numbers are skewed a little bit by the fact that they've been at home for a while. On the road, they maybe haven't been as stingy, but I still really like this team defensively and what they're able to do. They're really able to suffocate teams. They give up so little. Detroit, to me, their offensive numbers are falling off. Their shooting percentage is falling off a little bit. Goaltending scares me a bit, but the Canes, again, always are never the team that's going to exploit bad goaltending. They're always a team that still struggles to finish. They're always a bad finishing team. So hopefully that doesn't cost us too much. This is also kind of a game where I think the Canes won't need to fully go all out and overexert themselves. Wings kind of feel a little bit dead here. Their playoff push has kind of fallen short. They're at the point now where they are 6 points back of the Habs for that last wild card. They're on borrowed time. It's pretty much curtains for them. I think we're seeing it. They look deflated. They don't look like they have the same energy. I really did like the way they were playing for a little while there, but their last few games have been pretty bad, and I'm at the point where I think they're kind of dead. So I think Carolina should be able to suffocate this game. Don't think we should be getting plus money as big as we are on the 5.5s. I definitely don't think the 6s should still be out there. So under 5.5 plus 110, we'll lock that in at FanDuel as one of our best bets for tonight. Probably our only best bet for tonight as we go into the last game, the Wild and the Islanders. Islanders are another team that I think are kind of dead right now. I mean, the Patrick Waugh Duclair stuff was maybe the funniest thing to happen this year. The quotes that he came out with, basically just saying how pathetic he was in that game, were hilarious. Waugh does not give a fuck, and I think that's so funny to watch. Also, probably not exactly the most fun to be on the receiving end of that. Now Duclair taking a leave of absence, but yeah, nonetheless, Wild plus 105 tonight in New York on Long Island. The Isles minus 126, total of 5.5. minus 106 to the over, minus 114 to the under. Isles seem a little bit cooked again too. They've had a really tough schedule of late though, so I do think they're a tad undervalued here because this is a team we've seen that we've called dead so many times. They always seem to sort of give their better efforts when they're backed into a corner. Now, like, is this hill too big to climb for them to make the playoffs? Yes. Does that mean we're going to get them, waving the white flag? I don't necessarily think so. I still think we can trust in them getting effort, good effort, especially considering those comments from Waugh the other night. Like, I don't think guys are about to go in and throw in the towel and be ready to get called out publicly like this. So I think we do get a good Isles effort here. They're, those 2 games against Tampa, they were better than the scores indicated. They deserve better in some of those games. Canes game, they were railroaded, but the Canes are just railroading pretty much everyone right now. So it is what it is. They've looked better against, mediocre opposition. So of the Wild though, I still think, the market is like pretty sour on this Wild team. I don't think they're as bad at this point as the market seems to think they are. The market has not only come full circle on them, but they've gone too far the other way, in my opinion. That's why we did bet them a couple nights ago against the Devils. They were okay in that Rangers game too. Both Devils games, they were pretty good. So I'm just going to stay off this one. These are two teams that I think maybe are a tad undervalued right now. Also, not exactly sure what to make of either of them. Don't really want to force things at this point. And yeah, we're just not at the point in the season where I care to force things. So just the one best bet for tonight. That is the under in the Carolina-Detroit game. Under 5.5 plus 110 at FanDuel. Okay, we do have a no-goal parlay to get to tonight. We did lose the no-goal parlay last night. We cashed 2 of the 3 legs. We did not get the juiciest of the 3 home. The Elias Lindholm one yesterday did not cash. He scored an empty net, basically, goal off a generous bounce that fell right to him in front of the net with no one in net. Yeah, very undeserved goal. It is what it is. It happens. That ends our no goal parlay streak at, I think, 8 in a row. Hopefully we can bounce back tonight. Tonight's no goal parlay is Simon Holmstrom, Dylan Larkin, and Teuvo Teravainen. That is tonight's no goal parlay. I will say, if you don't want to lay the minus 125, which I don't see why you wouldn't, it's not like some crazy juice price. An alternate there, I think, if you want to replace Teravainen, would be Protis. He's just not getting any power play time. He's on a worse line at 5-on-5 now. He's not getting the looks. He's not getting the chances. He's not shooting the puck. I don't mind fading him. I also don't mind fading Sam's former boy, Connor McMichael, who has been relegated to the 4th line and is getting very few opportunities right now as well. He is getting second power play time, though, so I'd prefer Protis. But yeah, I did like a few in that game. It was a little bit harder to narrow it down. Ultimately, I went the safer route here with Teravainen, who has like 2 shots in his last 10 games and is doing next to nothing. Okay, I wasn't going to do an anytime goal parlay for tonight, but we have enough suggestions here, so let's do one. We might as well. Sam says Jarvis or Blake. I say let's run it back on Jackson Blake. We had him in there the other night. Might as well throw him in again. So we'll get Jackson Blake in there. Anders Lee plus 300 out there. I don't know where Anders Lee is plus 300. Let me see that. Yeah, I do see that. But at FanDuel, they have a much sharper number. So we are not going to put Anders Lee plus 185 in there in our anytime goal parlay. We have a Johansson suggestion. Let me make sure that's the FanDuel number. Yep. Plus 380 at FanDuel. So we will do Johansson and Blake. And I mean, let's just throw Ovechkin in there. Obviously, as if we need one from that game. It's minus 145. That's crazy. That is a terrible number. But strictly for the vibes, we are going to throw Ovechkin in there as the 3rd leg for tonight. So Ovechkin, Jackson Blake, and Marcus Johansson will be our anytime goal parlay for tonight. Let's put that together here. Just give us a quick second to get that in. There we go. 30-1. Jackson Blake, Marcus Johansson, Alex Ovechkin. That is our anytime goal parlay for tonight. Our no goal parlay, one more time, was Simon Holmstrom, Dylan Larkin, and Teuvo Teravainen. And our one best bet for the night was Canes and Wings under 5.5 plus 110. That'll do it for today. Short, small Friday slate. Also, don't forget, we did bet those Trevor Van Riemsdyk plus 1,700, Nick Dowd plus 3,500 to assist on Ovechkin's record-breaking goal, as well as him to break the record against Carolina. So those 3 at that one at plus 550. So hopefully you're able to get those in as well. Those are some really fun markets there. I definitely suggest going in there and playing around with those. They have a lot of cool stuff, not just with that, but they have some other stuff involved with it that you have to go to the site to check it out. Yeah, I don't think we're allowed to discuss some of the boosts and stuff like that for legal reasons, but yeah, a lot of really cool stuff on there. So definitely go in there and check it out. And since we have no other sports bet today, we do have a Connor Hartle NASCAR bet, which always down for one of those. NASCAR bet of the weekend, William Byron to win 9-1. I'm going to go bet that after we get off here. yeah, that'll do it for us today. I will be back on Monday with So Money Sports. He makes his triumphant return after 2 weeks off, lounging away on vacation in Toronto, touring the Rogers Center, Scotiabank Arena, just basically sitting around here watching sports. Must be nice. Must be nice while I'm sitting here doing solo shows. So we will get him back on Monday and Tuesday, and Rob there on Wednesday. We'll be back to a full cast next week. Yeah, appreciate everyone for tuning in today and bearing with me. We will be back on Monday. Enjoy the games this weekend, and good luck in your bets.